My siblings, 24 male, 22 female, and I, 26 male, were raised by a single dad, 45. Our dad was great, he was loving and caring and always put us first. Because of this, we never missed our deadbeat mom. My dad even sacrificed his love life, though he never dated anyone. My brother, 24, disowned our dad around 3 years ago, for a reason I'd also disown him, to be honest. My brother found out our dad and his then girlfriend, 27 now, doing it. Thus, my brother got mad at my dad and cut him off, moved out of the house and went to live with some friends. No matter how hard my dad has tried to apologize and reach out to him, my brother ignores him. My dad has suffered a lot and has gotten mad at us many times since. My sister and I know where my brother lives. We've visited him a couple of times and he demands we let him know, but we can't because my brother threatens that if we ever tell him, he'll go no contact with us. The thing is that this woman got pregnant with twins, but she didn't feel like being a mom, so she left them to my dad. My dad tells everyone that he's raising his grandkids. He swears they're my brother's, but I'm sure they're his since my brother says he used protection. The kids, twin boys, had a birthday 2 days ago. He hosted a small party, so my uncle started asking about my brother, as the kid's father, since no one in the family knew what happened. So my dad started talking crap about my brother, saying that he was an ungrateful son and a terrible father for leaving 2 kids behind. I think my dad is angry at my brother for not forgiving him. As everyone in the family saw my dad as an example for his sacrifices, they started talking crap about my brother. I love my dad wholeheartedly and I'd do anything for that man. I know all my siblings would. Still, he tried to portray my brother as a bad guy, and I love my brother, so I told him he wouldn't have disowned you if you hadn't slept with his girlfriend and got her pregnant. Everyone looked at him and tried to excuse his actions, but everyone told him to shut up and beg for more info. Since then, they've called my brother to apologize, but my dad is angry at me. He says this is a family matter and I should have kept my mouth shut. My wife says I did the right thing, but my sister is on my dad's side. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He says this is a family matter. Which family? The one whose origin he's lying about, the one he's trying to lie to, or the one he wants to make complicit in those lies? Regardless, this is 100% about him going out of his way to try and throw your brother under the bus and expecting no one to call him on that. And he still wonders why no one wants to help him get back in touch with the guy. He wasn't thinking of family when he had intimacy with his son's girlfriend. Instead, he wants to paint himself the good guy while bad-mouthing his son, whom he betrayed. Opie's dad needs a slap of reality. Now he has to face the consequences of his action. So hypocritical to pretend to be the grandfather of the year when he could be the father. Hasn't anyone done a paternity test on the twins? I don't trust the girlfriend either. If they're your dad's, raising another group of kids at his age is his karma to bear for cheating on his poor son. Those poor innocent kids. An absent mother and an unknown father. I'm sure your father hasn't done the DNA test yet because he wants to lie to himself because his actions made his son cut him off. He also doesn't want his family to be on your brother's side because he wants them to pressure your brother back into his life and into forgiving him. So if he gets that DNA test, he has no excuse for his current situation besides himself and his actions. And he hasn't accepted that all of this is his fault yet. I'd probably take a closer look at your father's parenting and relationships. 2 different women abandoned their kids with him, and he's blatantly playing the martyr even though he's knocked up his son's girlfriend. Has he always been this manipulative? Is it possible he's a real toxic partner and that's why he stayed single while you were growing up? I don't know why you still talk to him knowing what he's capable of. So I, 24 female, and my boyfriend, 26, have been dating for 9 months, and recently we celebrated my birthday. We went to my favourite restaurant, and after we went to a bar. I enjoyed it. I drove because he had a car accident the other day and his car is in the shop. While I was ordering drinks and he was in the bathroom, a stranger bought me a shot. I thanked him but told him I was in a relationship and he backed off. Then my boyfriend came back and asked where I got the shot and I answered. The guy was halfway across the bar by that point, but my boyfriend still got angry and accused me of flirting for free drinks. I told him that was silly and he just thought I was pretty and was respectful. He just scoffed and said okay and we continued our night. He gets progressively more intoxicated and starts bringing up the man who bought me a shot and asked me if I told him I'd sleep with him for a free drink. I told him no, I would never, and we didn't even interact besides telling him thank you, but I was in a relationship. He called me a liar and men don't do that unless they think that witch is an easy target, and then tells me it's because I'm dressed like one. I'm wearing a bodysuit and a skirt, maybe a little cleavage, but not anything indecent. I told him if he didn't stop I was going to leave and he would have to get an Uber home. He kept saying that we wouldn't be having this conversation if I wasn't so flirty. I told him again if he kept talking to me like that, I would leave him here. He scoffed and told me I wouldn't do that because I know better. I got up, grabbed my purse and told him to Uber back to his apartment because he wasn't welcome at mine. As I was driving home, completely sober by the way, I hadn't even taken a shot, my boyfriend did, and I was nursing a mojito the whole time, he called and texted me and said I'd better come back before he gets angry, so I turned my phone off. When I turned my phone back on, I had 53 missed calls from mainly him but also our friends and his mom. She went and picked him up, and almost 300 texts were calling me an idiot and saying he could have died, and I shouldn't have left him, and even some calling me a slut and a bad girlfriend. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, OP, but please break up with this toxic, shameless, manipulative idiot ASAP. He accuses you of flirting for free drinks and calls you names and other things. It's incredibly harmful and disgusting. Also, his friends and mom are idiots for harassing you constantly, even though it's your boyfriend's fault. Run away from them. I tended bar for several years and have seen this situation play out several times, almost verbatim to how you described it. Of course, the girls could have been dressed in parkas and sweatpants, but it would always come back to that topic. I've even had to keep one of the boyfriends from trying to fight the drink buyer, a regular of mine who was a super nice dude. He's a grown dude. You were well within your right to leave. I hope he's your ex-boyfriend now. I'd dump him hard after this display of insecurity and misogyny. She went and picked him up. That's hilarious. It's not hard to imagine what kind of woe-is-me stories he told his mommy on the drive home. Lose this jerk. Block his number and feel grateful you only lost 9 months of your life. He's an insecure idiot and mama's boy. Red flags, darling. Just to clarify something before I start. I legally adopted my stepdaughter 6 years ago, so she's my daughter in every way. I refer to her as stepdaughter in the title because that's how this story happened in the first place. I'm a 32-year-old male, my wife is 34. We've been married for 7 years and have 2 boys together, a toddler and a young child. She also has a daughter, Anna, tween. Her dad isn't involved at all and gave up parental rights days after her birth. Anna has Down syndrome. My brother and his wife just had a baby a month ago, and now our parents have decided they want to do a family photo shoot. I have 3 brothers. We all dressed up nicely as they asked, came to their house and started posing for the pictures. There was a professional photographer. There were pictures of my parents with sons, each son with a partner, each son with their own family, mom with just sons, dad with just sons, etc. All was good. When it was time for grandparents to take a picture with their grandkids, my mother came to me and said, "Can you just stay with Anna?" I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, for this picture, I just want my grandchildren, not your stepchildren." I was shocked because we don't have much contact because we live a few hours away. They've never shown favoritism like this. I said not, and they can take a picture with all grandkids, or I'm taking all my kids home and she'll miss out on half the grandkids in the picture. So my dad came over and backed my mom up. I repeated what I said to her and they reluctantly took the picture with all the kids. We left soon after the pictures were taken. A few days later, my mom sent a photo of them with the kids to our group chat, my parents, all their sons and partners, and wrote, "While it's not a perfect picture, all the kids are in it." I just left the chat and called my mom to tell her I don't think we'll be visiting any time again soon. She's very hurt, as is my father. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Crimea River, Grandma. Imagine what your granddaughter would feel to see every kid but her in the photo. I would have said she should cherish this photo as it's the last time she would see her grandsons. You're a good father. They're hurt? Boo-hoo. That's nothing compared to the hurt they could have thrown at your daughter for no other reason than she doesn't have the blood ties the other children have. Absolutely abominable behavior from people who ought to know better. Any hurt they feel is hurt they brought on themselves. An adopted child doesn't mean a visually imperfect picture, but to Opie's mom, a disabled one does. This is appalling, and I'm so sorry your parents are discriminating against your beautiful daughter. I hope you at least had lovely photos with your family and your parents' ugliness didn't ruin those for you too. I married my wife Leah 3 years ago after being in a relationship for 3 years before that. I have a son, Callum, tween. My late wife was Grace. She died when Callum was a toddler. I've always made a point of keeping her memory alive. We used to read some of the letters Grace left him for bedtime. I also played the videos she made for him for daily life, looking back on. I also tell him stories about her and us as a couple and a family with him. He has an attachment to her memory and her through everything she left for him. When I met Leah, he and I talked as I was getting ready to introduce her, and he asked if she had to be his new mom. I said no, that it was up to him and their relationship could be anything he was comfortable with. He said he couldn't imagine having someone else be his mom. We discussed it more times as the relationship progressed, and I was open with Leah that she was marrying me but she was not becoming a mom. She said she was okay with that, but she did want more kids. I agreed to that. We didn't expect her to be infertile and unable to have a child biologically. Since then, she's been less okay with not being Callum's mom. She's told me it should be back on the table despite me telling her Callum's feelings haven't changed. So she decided to bring it up in front of her family, saying that she was his mom but not getting the love or title, that I was making her feel less loved than Grace. Her family started ganging up on me, saying they'd been hearing about it for 3 years now, and how Callum deserved a mom and to be healthy enough to embrace a new mom, and that Leah deserves to be a mom and be credited for raising Callum. They said she was doing most of the parenting, which I strongly disagreed with. I'm not some guy who married to pawn his kid off on someone. I actively parent my son and do more than Leah because I disagree with dumping all the parenting on my spouse. It was the same when Grace was alive. Because I want to be there for my son, and because Callum comes to me more than Leah. She argued that she should be doing more as the household's mother, and that I was a terrible husband. I asked her what she wanted me to do, to tell Callum that his feelings and established boundaries don't matter and he needs to cater to hers. I've been her shoulder to lean on throughout her finding out she's infertile and throughout any step-parenting struggle she's had. Still, she made me angry by handling the conversation the way she did, and I told her she knew what the deal was when she married me, and I'd been clear with her what her role would be, and that we were not looking for Callum to have a new mom. Leah was upset. I think she was devastated when she found out she couldn't have biological children, and her family was angry at me. I do feel bad for snapping as I did, but I'm also mad at her for putting me in the position she did. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and you're right. She knew the deal when you married. Unfortunately, she's infertile, but that doesn't mean she entirely gets to disregard Callum's feelings. That's no way to treat someone who she wants to mother. You're doing great. But you don't understand. She wants to be a mum, and it's completely fine that she tried to use her family to manipulate and browbeat OP into getting what she wants, ignoring what his son wants because she wants to be a mother, and that's all that matters. Jeez. She's doubly an idiot for bringing it up in front of her family. She fully intended for them to gang up against you to try to manipulate you into giving her what she wants. Honestly, you need to rethink staying married to her, because if she's being this pushy with you, you can bet that she's even pushier, though maybe more subtly, with your son, and that is not a healthy person to have him around. You are the idiot for molding your literal infant into someone who wouldn't accept anyone in his life in a motherly role. This is your own making. You practically have the kid worship his dead mother. If you'd allowed him to grow like a normal child, he would have had the benefit of attachment to another human being, but you shut that down from the beginning. I would understand your wife's frustration. She comes second to your late wife while doing all the work of raising the kid. My girlfriend and I, both 22, have been together for about a year. During that time, neither of us have gone on vacation with our friends, and we haven't met each other's friends. We live together and have a dog that she already had before we got together. She and her friends planned on going on vacation, but decided they weren't due to funds and the inability to find a time that would work for them all. I'm going back to my hometown to visit my parents next week, which we've known for months. Our dog was going to stay with her at ours because my parents don't like dogs. A few days ago, she came home from a friend's house super excited about something and told me that she and her friends had spontaneously booked a vacation for next week. It was cheap and they all managed to get it off work somehow. I asked her if she'd forgotten about my plans, and she said no, and that I'll have to bring the dog with me. I said no, she's not my dog and my parents won't want her to come, which started an argument. I ended up saying it was utterly inconsiderate of her to book the vacation without asking me, and that if she had any sense, she'd cancel it. She told me she couldn't do that without losing all the money, and that she shouldn't have to ask permission to go on a trip with her friends. She left last night in a massive strop and went and stayed with her friend. My friends have said I'm an idiot for how I handled it, but I don't think I am. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The issue isn't her needing permission to go. She had a commitment to look after the dog and she should have checked first. I think the bigger problem is that instead of figuring out how to solve the problem, she just walked out and went to stay with one of her friends. So many warning signs here. She knew the plan before she booked her last-minute vacay with the girls, including that there was an issue with pet care at your parents since they don't like dogs, which is totally understandable. It sounds like she expected you to cave and is throwing a strop that you didn't. This makes me think this isn't the first time she's abused her power in the relationship to manipulate you. It might be worth thinking about the balance between you two and if it's serving you well anymore.